Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I will be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Alrighty. So, we're going to get into this message. On the split, we've got blossoming abundance and TikTok. So, this is divine timing. So there's something about divine timing playing a role in your increasing abundance. And this doesn't have to be just physical, like finances. This can be other forms of abundance as well. Abundance of love, abundance of support, abundance of opportunities, abundance of resources, abundance of spiritual communication. Whatever it is for you. Could be all of the above. All right, let's get into this. Really quick, thank you for being here. Thank you for your help in co-creating these messages. I really do enjoy bringing them forth, so thank you. And also thank you for your support on the channel. The likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and the donations all really do help out, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get into this message. What's the collective need to hear today, Spirit? Or their highest good? Happy, happy, and by the book. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so the happy happy card is about bringing in more joy, happiness, abundance, things like that. Things that make you happy. What's interesting is the by the book card is normally the opposite of that. Especially when you're on this journey, we'll find that a lot of things that society tells us to do does not make us happy. So this could be something that you're coming into the awareness of now is where it's like, okay, I was told to do this thing. I was told to, follow these certain steps and then it would get a guaranteed outcome. And, a lot of us have actually experienced the opposite of that, where we did what we were told to do and then experienced the opposite of what we were told it would bring. Um, you know, so this could be something that you're really unpacking right now. Maybe you're doing some inner work of like, what would actually make me happy? Is it these external accolades? Is it this external, what I'm being told I should do that's actually going to make me happy? Or is it something different? Um, so yeah, a lot of introspection, things like that. Financial constraints. So for some of you, interesting, I just heard that you did things by the book by societal expectations and standards, and you found yourself in this energy of financial constraints, which I'm not laughing at that situation. I'm laughing because that's precisely what I was talking about when I was like, we're told to do these certain things and then we experience the opposite. For me, it was, I went to college and studied biology and chemistry, and it was supposed to be this guaranteed thing. And then, a lot of other stuff happened in the meantime. And come to find out that was not what made me happy. I'll just put it that way. Um, so you could be experiencing something similar right now. And when this happens, it can really suck. It can be really frustrating. But just remember that you wouldn't come into this awareness and have this experience if it wasn't the time for it, if it wasn't what your higher self, the divine, whatever your, other forces you work with, you called on this awareness at this time for a reason. Um, okay. So you've got the appreciation card. This is talking about really greatly appreciating something, someone, an experience, an environment, a relationship, whatever it is. It's also talking about an attitude of gratitude. And so really allowing yourself to get into this attitude of gratitude, that's going to help lift this financial constraints energy. There could be something that you are still tied up in when it comes to like external expectations, what people around you are saying that you should do, or what's expected of you, things like that. And so you could still be kind of tied up in some of these things that you were trying to do, quote unquote, by the book, and you've realized that that's actually not what is going to lead to this, gratitude and appreciation and this happy energy. Okay. Well, we did see blossoming abundance to start with. So there is something that is attempting to make its way into your energy right now that is bringing abundance. Yeah, we've got attachment. This can be ego attachments. This can be, locking into an identity. Really, if somebody asks like, who are you? And then you give them the description of like the roles you play in life or, your job, something like that. That's when, it's kind of an indicator that you've got your identity wrapped up in something that is more externally based. And so maybe you're really in that energy of breaking down some of those things. You'd be going through an ego death, an ego breakdown, something like that. Okay, for some of you, there's something about going global that is going to make you happy and allow you to be in this appreciation energy. So, for some of you, maybe it's a childhood dream of being, in the spotlight or something like that. Maybe it was creating something that would go global. An invention or I mean, this can be in so many different ways. So you could have recently had, for some of you, it's like a childhood dream came back online. You're like, okay, I still want to do something like that. Or you're realizing that you're being called into a bigger purpose of some sort. Okay, we've got truth be told. Okay, this just took a little bit of a turn. All right, so we've got truth be told. So this is about really allowing yourself to speak your truth. And the first thing you have to do before you can speak your truth is you have to know your truth. And you also have to be in the energy of being confident within yourself and with your truth so that you can speak it. So you could be doing a lot of that right now. There's also this energy of speaking your truth that is going to liberate you from some of these heavy energies, this ego attachment, things like that. What's holding you back? You speaking your truth is going to assist you in that liberation energy. And we've got strategy. So this is coming up with a plan. So some of you are coming up with a plan on speaking your truth in some way. Maybe this is something that you're going to be speaking your truth. Maybe it's writing a book, maybe it's doing a podcast, maybe it's something like that that's going to be seen by the masses that is going to liberate you. For some of you, it's speaking your truth and your deeper desires, especially with these hearts here, to somebody that you are interested in romantically. So there's a few different threads of energy coming through here. Um, okay, so I had to pause it to plug in the camera really quick because it was low battery. And then I started thinking about something that um I've been processing. And then I heard that it's actually relevant for this energy. So something that you could be processing through and releasing is playing small. Keeping yourself small for other people's comfort. And that could be something that you've been releasing or you're working on releasing when it comes to this by the book energy. Okay, yeah, we've got door to personal healing and happiness here. So I do feel like this is something that you're really desiring. Maybe it's something you're really focusing on is incorporating more things in your life that you can be happy about on a regular basis. Yeah, and divine's coming through to help you with a new beginning when it comes to your personal happiness and healing. And it might be needing to release that energy of playing small and allowing yourself to get comfortable with being seen by other people in your full energy, in your sovereignty, in your, in your power, not in a corrupted kind of way, but in a, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is, I might be a little different, but that, that's okay. Like, might not be for everybody, but I'm not going to play small for anybody either. Okay. Interesting. Hey, there's the Blossoming Abundance card. We do have it. It did come out. So you do have blossoming abundance in your energy. For some of you, you have something going on with a divine counterpart. So that could definitely be where this truth be told energy is coming through, is speaking your truth to your counterpart. The yin yang card is also about balancing the masculine and feminine energies within us. So balancing the receptive energy with the output energy. the input versus output energy. So it's balancing that and learning, when to be in your receptive energy and when to be in your action-oriented output energy. Um, there's definitely a divine counterpart thread of energy here. So, and yeah, and this could be, yeah, okay. And that could be something else too, is maybe going towards your counterpart is going against the grain. There could be something about your person or you or both of you coming together that is not by the book, so to speak, not what you were told to experience when it comes to a relationship. Maybe there's cultural differences or religious differences or something like that that would be, if you were to lock in a physical union with this person, it's going against the grain in some way. So that could be something that you're processing through, releasing attachments around, so on and so forth. Rest and rejuvenation is really letting you know to listen to your body, listen to your energy system, and do what's necessary as much as possible to allow yourself to rest and rejuvenate. For some of you, because it did land on this truth card, it could be speaking your truth is what's going to allow you to liberate yourself and really get some like much needed rest, is what just came through. There's also something there with the correlation on your abundance as well. Okay, we've got angel of balance. So some of you are being called to balance out a situation. If that counterpart thread of energy is for you, you could be being called to balance out something in that situation. The other thing here, because it landed on the financial constraints card, what I'm getting is there is a balancing that is happening in your energy system right now that is going to allow you to increase your abundance um pretty quickly is what I'm getting. Yeah, it could also be balancing those internal aspects of the self as well. To be, the light and the dark aspects, the masculine, feminine aspects, those kinds of things. And that's going to help you increase your abundance and also, align with a high level soulmate, counterpart, twin flame, whatever you resonate with. Yeah. Seventh chakra. Okay, so yeah, you're being guided. You're getting cosmic insight. You're getting divine insight on navigating the situation, on releasing some of these ego attachments, on finding balance, and also on speaking your truth in whatever way that is for you. So there's definitely that element of speaking your truth that is, you're being divinely led to do that at this time. Yeah, door to spirit. And that landed right on the yin yang card and blossoming abundance. So there is something with you shifting into alignment that is going to help you align with your person and also really balance these energies within the self and then also increase your abundance. Okay. Woman holding a coin. Hmm. 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 Okay. Sometimes this comes up as a karmic energy because it's sometimes it can indicate somebody who's only externally focused. So for some of you, maybe you experienced relationships where it's very like superficial, externally focused. Maybe you were with maybe you were with people who were very, materialistic or just very externally focused. And that's something that is shifting, and you're going to find balance when it comes to that, especially by following that divine guidance. Okay. Hmm. Okay, we've got the co-create card. And I was guided to lay it down on the yin yang card. So for some of you with that counterpart thread of energy, you are being guided to co-create with your person. Work together on creating life. For some of you, that's literal. Okay, and then we've got broken heart. Mm. So you could be dealing with healing when it comes to the heart space, processing grief, those kinds of energies. Maybe that's part of this all tied up energy is you're still really processing some of this energy. For some of you, you're being guided to speak your truth with somebody that you experienced a broken heart energy with. And with that, I'm definitely getting that counterpart thread of energy. Um, hmm, okay. Okay, yeah. I internally asked, I was like, what's going on with this broken heart energy? And right away this mending card came out. And so I'm getting this energy of mending a broken heart or mending a situation that ended in this heartbreak energy. So that could definitely be something that you're being called to do. Maybe that's something that you're strategizing about right now, trying to figure out like how and when and all of that. If that's the case, make sure you're listening to your divine guidance. Make sure you're tapping into your intuition in listening to that and allowing that to guide you because there is something here. There's this mending, this healing that is a really big potential for you when it comes to another person. And so I am getting kind of a reconciliation energy that's coming through. Yeah, you've got a deep knowing about this. So your intuition has been telling you that you can mend this situation successfully, is what I just heard. Yeah, you can mend this situation, you can co-create with your person. It's just going to require like I feel like it's going to require you to shift into kind of an uncomfortable position. Maybe it's putting yourself out there, maybe it's being really vulnerable with somebody. Um something like that. But you've been getting, yeah, there's the action card. You've been getting the guidance to take this action. Yeah, fourth chakra. Your heart is calling you towards this person. Um, and it is safe to take this action. It's safe to have this conversation with this person. And you're getting the divine guidance to take this action. So it is in alignment with you and your like your higher timeline, so to speak, your dream reality, whatever, however you um kind of perceive it. It's really in alignment with this next phase of your journey, which is a phase where you're really listening to the guidance and following that to align you with a reality that is one that you desire to experience. And so with that, pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities, the dreams, the random guidance that comes up. Maybe you're getting messages through song lyrics. Just really pay attention to that because you're being communicated with by the divine right now a lot with this crown chakra. You could be going through a crown chakra upgrade or expansion, and receiving more guidance. Maybe you're having more experiences when it comes to, the spirit realm. Um, but yeah, ultimately, there is this deep knowing that it is safe to mend this situation. It is time to mend this situation. Your heart is guiding you towards this right now for a reason. Do your best not to get so hung up on the strategy and the when and the how and the this and the that. Listen to your intuition. Listen to the guidance that you're getting right now and follow that. Yeah, caring connections. Yeah, we definitely took the romantic turn. So I feel like this is something you're desiring with a very high level soulmate counterpart energy. And there's a reason. It's because there is the potential here for, yeah, grounding this into the physical. Um, Yeah, and then we've got longing. Um, I'm not getting like super envious. If there's envy, it's more of just not being in contact with your person right now. That would be the envy, but I'm not getting that there's envy between you and this person as far as like being envious of them, their experiences, so on and so forth. I feel like this is just that envy of like wanting to be in their life in a meaningful way and wanting them to be in your life in a meaningful way. It's more of that longing energy, longing. Blech. And yeah, so this is really, you're being guided to ground this into the physical realm. You're being guided to follow your heart space and allow yourself to take this action to ground in this beautiful connection with a person that I feel like you did experience a heartbreak with this person. Um, and you're being called to mend the situation now. Your heart is calling you to mend the situation now. And it's a true mending. It's a true coming back together. It's a true like reunion energy. And then it definitely has the potential to lock in the physical world. The first chakra, that's one that came out. That's sits at the base of the spine. The color is red, and it has to do with, your physical reality. Um, survival, things like that. And then also just grounding things into the physical experience and experiencing things in the physical realm where you're waking up in the morning and you're in communication with your person versus wishing you were in communication and wondering what they're doing and all of that. You could definitely feel like you're between worlds right now. You could be feeling pulled between two worlds right now. And what I'm getting is it's like your old identity, your old, you know, life, so to speak, is pulling at you, but then this new experience, this new version of you is pulling you in this direction. So you could be feeling very pulled in two different directions. And so you're kind of between these two worlds right now, not sure which way to go or, fully, because there's a letting go that has to happen of the old identity, and sometimes it requires you releasing people, places, and things that maybe you never thought you would have to release, but you'll be guided to release that so that you can lock in your highest timeline, your highest reality, the version of life that you do want to experience, that you're excited about, that's in alignment with your soul, with your, purpose, things like that. Cornucopia. So, yeah, this is literally the manifestation card. This is the dream reality card. This is massive amounts of abundance and experiencing that in the physical realm. So this is something that is in alignment for you on this higher timeline basically. There is something here as well with mending this situation that's going to help you really lock in to this dream reality. Yeah, and it's right here next to action in the first chakra, which governs our physical reality. So you are on the brink of taking some action and actually experiencing like the life of your dreams in the physical reality, in the physical realm. Yeah, fork in the road. There's crossroads energy. So I feel like you're really being pulled in two different directions right now. It's like your ego and, kind of the quote unquote old way of doing things and things like that are pulling on you. And then there's this other reality, this other way of experiencing life that's pulling on you. And you're just like, oh, but this isn't the way that I wanted it to be first. And this isn't where I wanted it to be. And I need to have this and this and this before I can do this. And you're being called to just release those attachments, release the need to have things look a certain way, be a certain way. Maybe there's a little bit of perfectionism that's, that you're dealing with where it needs to look exactly a certain way and go a certain way. And you need to be able to, make some ground gesture or something like that. And you're really being asked to release that right now because it's one of those things, like, by releasing that and allowing yourself to align with this other version of yourself, that is the version of yourself where you're going to start experiencing manifestations that you do desire really, really rapidly. So if you're sitting there like, well, I can't go towards my person until my financial tax bracket looks like this, and then it's actually you going towards your person that's going to help you shift your tax bracket because of the energy shift that's going to take place within you. It's kind of one of those things, like, you're waiting for the thing to happen when it's actually you being called to do this other thing that's going to allow that thing to happen. Hopefully that makes sense. So, yeah, make sure you're really listening to your intuition right now, because I feel like you're stopping yourself from taking this action due to something that is intertwined with taking this action. So it's like you're waiting for this to happen, but it's going to happen as a result of doing this other thing. And yeah, so you could still be feeling like it's too good to be true. Um, so this reality that you're being called into, this other version of reality, it might feel like that's just too good to be true. This person checks every single box, and that's just unrealistic. Um, it's unrealistic to think that I could experience this life of my dreams in its entirety because of the experiences I've had in the past and because of certain things that I've done and blah blah blah. It's self-deceit. It's your ego coming up and telling you different things that aren't true. With the deceit card, you're like, it's this oh shit. Sorry, Crystal. Um, Hopefully that wasn't really loud. Um, but it's almost this energy of, like, your ego is deceiving you right now. And so just be very mindful of that, because the ego gets real crafty on having us not take risks because it could potentially be dangerous. So it's one of those, like, thank you for your concern, ego. I appreciate it. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, trying to keep me alive. I do appreciate it. And also, we're going to let the higher self take the wheel, because the higher self sees things from a different perspective. The ego seeing things from the ground level, and the higher self is seeing things from the bird's eye level, bird's eye view. So it's like you're in a labyrinth, and everybody else is going this way, and so your ego's like, well, follow that way and go that way, and your higher self's like, no, turn left instead of right, and then go this way, and you're going to make it out of the labyrinth. And then your ego's like, well, but everybody else is going this way, and there's a guaranteed path over here to get out. And then your higher self's like, yeah, but you're going to see something really cool, you're going to meet somebody really cool, and you're going to experience some really amazing things if you turn left. So I know everybody else is going right, but if you turn left, it's going to be worth it. But you're not, it's like there's not a whole lot of physical feedback of people that have gone that direction. So it's a leap of faith, it's a surrender, it's a trusting and taking that leap of faith and taking that risk and listening to your higher self and that higher guidance that's going to get you, out of the labyrinth, but also have some amazing, beautiful experiences along the way. To where this path is like, yeah, maybe it's guaranteed because other people have done it before, but it's like it's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of thorny bushes to get through and this and that. And then your higher self's like, dude, if you go this way, you're going to see some magical waterfalls and you're going to meet some amazing people and you're going to have such a wonderful experience. But there's not a lot of people that have gone that way that can come back with a lot of feedback to tell you to go that way. So you've got to do that trust and surrender and listen to your higher self, listen to the divine, and take that untraveled route and then just take a chance on it. So, and that's really fucking scary for the ego. The ego is like, I do not want to do this. I do not know what the outcome of this is going to be. So fuck that. Go with everybody else. Go with the crowd. And your higher self's like, I mean, you can, but you're going to be miserable. You're not going to enjoy the experience. You're not going to see the waterfalls. You're not going to meet the people that you truly desire to meet if you go that way. So, yeah, definitely make sure you're listening to your intuition and following that guidance, because it's going to take you on the most amazing path for you. And it's the path that you really want to take. It's just a little scary because it's unknown. And trust me, it's one of these things, once you start taking this inspired action and following your intuition and then seeing it work out, the easier it gets, the quieter the ego gets. But it's a process, it's definitely a process, especially when we're talking major life choices, changes, choices, like, the person you're going to be with romantically, possibly for the rest of this life, your career, your, living location, like these big major things. At first, it's really uncomfortable to listen to your intuition and blindly follow it. But the more you do it, the more you'll be able to trust it and know that it is actually going to work out for you. Okay, clean it up. So, uh, what was I ranting about with cleaning it up? The ego? Um, I'm getting this. So this can be like literal, where you're like cleaning up your physical space. And maybe there's a part of you that's doing that. Maybe you're purging things that no longer align with you, so on and so forth. This can also be just like cleaning up your life. So you could be really doing your best to pay attention to what's draining your energy, what's depleting your energy, what's out of balance, and then changing some of those things. So there could be an element of cleaning it up just in life in general that you're doing right now. For some of you, it's going to be something that happens as a result of going towards your person. Maybe it's going to help illuminate things that are out of alignment and then give you more of that motivation to clean it up. Because the thing is I feel this energy of like, once you allow yourself to reach out to your person and communicate with them, it's going to help shift your energy in a very positive way. And you're going to have that effect on your person too, by the way. This is a very mirrored energy. Fifth chakra. Yep, that's communication. Um, that's our throat, which is funny because my throat's doing a thing right now. Um, and so this is definitely talking about that need to communicate and express your truth. And I do feel like, we kind of took the counterpart turn. Um, but it could be something else as far as like writing a book or, making music or public speaking in some way, motivational speaking, doing a podcast, something like that that you're being called to do, and it's going to come through the throat chakra. So the throat sits at the throat. The color is blue. It has to do with communication, speaking your truth. So you could also be going through a throat chakra clearing or upgrade, activation, something like that. That could be something else that's happening in your energy right now. Um, yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. This is a fated connection. So what that means is this is a connection that you chose to experience before coming into the physical realm at the soul level. So this is a person that you want to work with. This is a person you want to experience in whatever ways that may be. Um, yeah, this is part of the reason why the poll is so hard right now. There's an alignment with you and this other person, and the time for it is now to take this action to potentially lock in a physical union is really what I'm getting. Um, there's also something here with soul purpose that is either coming online, being activated, or will activate fully for you as a result of following this guidance and reaching out to your person. The healer of the ages is talking about healing abilities. So you could also experience you could be doing different healing modalities right now. Some of you could be actual healers. Maybe you do Reiki or something like that. For others of you, you could be being called into some of those fields. For others of you, there's a healing that happens when people hear you speak. And that's part of the reason, if that is the case, if you're being called into the public eye for a reason where you are using your voice, it's probably because you've got certain healing frequencies in your throat chakra. And when you project it out and people hear you, it actually activates healing and alignment and all of these things within them. So that could be something else that is coming up for you right now. But ultimately, I feel like this fork in the road, I feel like you're choosing between alignment versus not alignment. And for some of you, especially if it's a counterpart thread of energy, I feel like there's a part of you that's like, really, the next step for me. The next step for me to be in alignment is to reach out to this person and have a very uncomfortable, conversation. It's a mending conversation, it's reconciliation. And sometimes that can be very intimidating or stressful because we don't know where the other person is. We don't know how they're going to react. We don't know what they're going to say. And so that can stop us because, again, that ego's coming up like, fuck that. That is like, what if they reject you? Dude, that'd be devastating. Fuck that. Don't even try. Like, it can be pretty intense. The thing is, though, is to pull back a little bit and trust, tap into that deep knowing, because we got the second. Okay, so I combined decks. Okay, this we've got woman holding a heart on the bottom of the deck. I combined two decks, so there's probably over 100 cards total, and there's two in both of these decks that talk about divine counterpart, twin flame dynamics, and both of them came out. So tap into your inner knowing because you have a deep knowing. If you ignore the naysayer in your mind and you tap into your knowing, you know this is your person. You know they are perfect for you. And there is a part of you that knows that you are perfect for them. I'm feeling resistance in saying that, so your ego's going fucking ham sandwich, telling you all the reasons why your person wouldn't desire you. But that's not actually accurate. When you ignore that part for a minute and you tap into your knowing, you tap into your heart space, you tap into your intuition, you can feel that this person reciprocates for you. You're mirroring this energy. That's why you're being called in right now, is because your person is desiring you. So you both are manifesting each other. And you're both manifesting a physical union. If you're here in this energy, you are both manifesting this physical union with each other, and it is romantic with the caring connections. There is also a lot of financial cards, especially we've got man holding a coin out here. And what I'm getting, because we've got the woman and the man holding a coin, this is the masculine and the feminine both being financially secure. It just might come as a result of locking in a physical union with this person. And there is a balance. So this could be a situation where you come together and you build together and then rise into different financial experiences together. Um, the thinking man, you could be overthinking this a lot right now. Yeah, and I do feel like I'm talking to the masculine in this energy. I don't feel like I'm talking to the feminine. If you are feminine, feel like you might be cross-watching, because the way that I'm talking is to somebody who's being called into their masculine energy, that action-oriented initiator energy. Um, so I do feel like I'm talking to the masculine right now. If so, I feel like you might be overthinking this right now, and you're being guided to really pull out of those anxious thoughts, those fear thoughts, and just know that a lot of that is just subconscious programming that you picked up along the way. It's not really in alignment with what your higher self and the divine is guiding you to do. Um, and that could be why I went on such a tangent about the ego and how the ego works. And the ego's a sneaky bitch sometimes, and it's not a bad thing. That's the other thing, is the ego's not bad. It just wants to keep you safe and alive. And even though you might be miserable in your current circumstances and you desire all of these great things, you have to jump into the unknown to reach those levels that you are desiring. So I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's a pretty big visionary. You've got some big dreams. You want to do some big things. And the ego will keep you playing small so that you don't take that unnecessary leap from the ego's perspective. You don't take that leap and you don't take that huge risk because that could be potentially dangerous. And so it's just understanding that the ego's not bad. It's just trying to keep you alive. When we let the ego run the show, that's when we experience a life that we're not really happy with, but then we find ourselves stuck there and don't know why. And it's because that ego is just real good at like, oh, but wait, oh, but hold on, oh, but remember this, oh, but the possibility of that. Stay here, play small. This is safe. I know guaranteed we're going to stay alive if we stay here and don't take these big risks. And then your higher self is coming in saying that's very limiting. You don't need to do things this way, but it is going to scare the shit out of your ego to take these leaps. So I feel like you're really in that pole of the ego versus the higher self energy here, like the ego versus the soul self or the higher self or the divine, however you want to look at it. Um, it's that pull where you're like, okay, and then maybe you've had a lot of experiences that confirm some of these things that your ego is telling you. And so there's a part of you that's like, is this really going to be something different? Is this really going to be all that I feel like it could be because it feels like it could be so magical. It sounds like it could be so magical. I'm getting all of these visions and daydreams and dreams of how wonderful and magical this can be. But can it really be that magical? Because I had this experience and I had this experience, and then this person did this thing, and then this person did this thing. And then when I was in this relationship, it pulled out a side of me that I didn't even want to see. And so it's yeah, it's really that battle right now. Um, and then there's also how is this going to look externally with the by the book card? How are people going to take this? What are people going to say? What are people going to think? How are people going to view it? And it's one of those like, people are going to people. They're going to look at situations from their level of experience and perspective. And so if you're constantly living your life to appease other people, you're never going to find true fulfillment. To try to find that true fulfillment within is to go, okay, what am I aligned with? What do I desire? What do I want to experience with another person in my life, in my career? Where do I want to live? Don't maybe it's, you want to live by the beach and you're in a landlocked state. Um, you know, hey, hey, maybe you want to live by the mountains, but you're in the Midwest in the plains or whatever it is. And of course, if you're in different countries, take it as it resonates. Um, that's just here in the States. But anyways, so it's definitely really shifting into listening to the internal compass, listening to what it is that you are being called to do. What is it that makes your heart sing? Who is it that makes your heart sing? I feel like if you're here and you're listening to this, it's definitely your divine counterpart. So, if you're being called to your person now, there's a reason for it. Yeah, and we've got woman holding a heart on the bottom of the deck. So this is talking about the feminine in this situation being in love with the masculine. Milk and honey. Oh my gosh. This is literally, these two cards are the dream reality cards out of both of these decks. There's one in each, and we just pulled them both. So again, there's over 100 cards total, and two both of the dream reality cards just came out. You are literally manifesting the life of your dreams. You're being called into the life of your dreams. Your intuition, your higher self, the divine, is calling you into the life of your dreams. And I feel like there's still a part of you that's like, it's too good to be true. It's not really, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And probably because, that's been your experience up until this point. And I do, I get it, like no judgment because I get it. Trust me, I understand this energy very much at a personal level. And so it's allowing yourself to start it's not really like re doing anything. It's more allowing yourself to attach to the thoughts that are expansive. The what if this isn't too good to be true and it's literally going to be that good? And holy shit, what could we really accomplish together? And, obviously, this person, if they're my divine counterpart, they're my perfect match. So of course it's going to be that good, especially now post awakening and healing and all of that jazz. So it's one of those things like start allowing yourself to attach to more of those expansive, uplifting thoughts versus the constrictive, you know, naysaying thoughts, more or less. I know it's easier said than done, but with practice, you can do it. It gets easier. So at first, it's conscience. It's a conscience thing to like release the attachment to those negative thoughts and those fear-based thoughts and those anxious thoughts and just being like, okay, that is a thought. That is not who I am. And who I am is a multidimensional being having a human experience, and I'm tapped into the divine now. So when you're looking at it that way, your higher self and the divine want you to experience the life of your dreams. That's just it. That is what the desire of the divine is. Because when you're living the life of your dreams, you're expanding, you're growing, you're evolving. That's what the divine wants to experience. That's what the universe wants to experience through us. So when you understand that, then all of those other thoughts, it's ego, it's limiting beliefs, it's coming from societal programming, it's coming from, passed down limiting beliefs, like generationally. And so it's understanding that, okay, this is not actually what I'm being guided to do. I'm being guided into this experience where it's expansive, it's fulfilling, it's exciting, it's uplifting, it's regenerating. With the regeneration card that just came out here, that's what your soul, your higher self, and the divine is leading you towards. It's the ego limiting beliefs and survival mechanism that is keeping you in this energy of staying small, playing small, not doing things, against the grain because of what somebody might say. That's all that kind of fear based, very limiting way of living life. And so you're being invited into this other way of living life that is expansive. It is very happy. It is very loving. It is very fulfilling. Like there's the sense of soul purpose that's coming through. And so you're waking up every day and you're living in alignment with something that lights your soul on fire. And so for some of you, that's going to be a romantic person plus, soul purpose and being able to do something that you want to do on a daily basis for your career that doesn't even feel like work. And so you're really being called to shift into this other experience here. We've got that between worlds energy. You're like smack dab in the middle here, being pulled in two different directions. Your ego's pulling you to stay over here, and your higher self is calling you over here, where everything's vibrant and exciting and uplifting. For the most part, we're humans. We're going to experience, stuff we don't want to experience. That's part of it. But it's one of these like, over here, you're mainly living in color. Over here, you're mainly living in grayscale. Which one do you want to do? Oh, it's one of those things like this is going to take some risks to get to this point to live in this vibrant, uplifting, expansive energy. And it is calling for you to start living from a different place where you are listening to your intuition versus listening to your logic and what's been done before. Because you came here to pave your own path. And to pave your own path, it's uncomfortable. You might fall. You might get cut up by some thorny bushes and so on and so forth. But that's the path that your soul is calling you towards. So if you stay over here and you listen to your ego, sure, that might be safe and so on and so forth. However, it's not going to be fulfilling. It's not going to light your soul on fire. If you allow yourself to take this giant risk and take this leap of faith, you're going to be able to start experiencing life from a place where your soul is on fire in a good way, in a way of like, I'm so excited for this and I am, and it just cascades. It's just this like snowball effect in such a beautiful, positive way. Yep. Round and round. So this is talking about cycles, being stuck in a loop. Okay. Yeah, it's being stuck in a loop. For some of you, you're having a difficult time resting and rejuvenating right now. That kind of came out earlier. Um, And part of it is because I feel like you're getting worked on really hard by the divine right now, by your higher self. And so it's like your higher self isn't letting you rest fully until you allow yourself to take this leap. And so, yeah, you're going to continue to experience chaos and conflict until you allow yourself to fully take this leap. Because it's one of these things that happens on the journey where you get to a certain point, like, okay, all right, I'm going to go into my analogy. Give me just a second. So, I had to pause it for a minute, get a drink of water before going on my little tangent here. It's not really a tangent, it's more of an analogy. Okay, so if you think about this, I feel like I'm speaking to somebody who has had a spiritual awakening. And there is, okay, when you're talking about the spiritual awakening, if we think about the caterpillar and the butterfly analogy, okay, when the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, metaphorically speaking, when we go through that process of spiritual awakening, or, because awakening happens in different phases. So when we start to go through these processes, there are like exit points where you can be like, okay, this is too uncomfortable, and then get off the ride and just continue to be a caterpillar. And so that like there's more and so on and so forth, and maybe you got some different levels of awareness along the way, but then you chose to kind of take one of those early exit points and not fully go through the process of the big transformation to become a butterfly. Then there's like certain threshold where once you hit this threshold and you continue going, it's like there's no turning back. And I feel like that's where you're at right now, is there's a part of you that wants to take an exit and get off of this because this transformation is so uncomfortable. But the thing is, where you're fighting yourself so hard right now is the only way out is through at this point. And so it's one of these like, I feel like you hit this certain point on your journey where it's like there is no going back. And accepting that and then being open to what is on the other side of this full-blown transformation, that's where you're going to find peace. That's where you're going to find your happiness. And ultimately, once you fully go through that transformation, you're not going to want to go back. But I feel like you're at this point where there's a part of you that wants to go back. There's a part of you that doesn't want to continue to go through this because it is getting so uncomfortable for you right now. But the thing is you you kind of came too far. There's no way out but through. And the thing is some of these final transformations are really fucking uncomfortable, and it's literally like requiring you to release things that you probably never thought you would have to release. But the thing is this is a complete shift in your life. This is a complete and total transformation. There is no version of you at this point that can go back and be satisfied. There just isn't, because you've come too far. You have too much awareness. And so at this point, the only way out is through. And the next phase of this is for you to do something very uncomfortable that's requiring you to tap fully into your authenticity and allow yourself to be the best version of you that you have access to in this moment, and take this leap of faith and see what happens. And what's funny is on the other side of this is this loyal heart energy, which is soulmate energy. It's that it's kind of that concept of like mating for life, and then trying, to have that with other people, and then realizing that's just not possible, and then you reconnect with this person, you mend the situation, and then you're back in this physical union energy with them. And it's so beautiful. It really, really is. And this is what is helping you. It's like you both are going to be continuing to walk into this life of your dreams together from this point forward, if you allow yourself to do so. But it's one of those, I don't feel like your higher self is going to let you rest until you do this. I feel like the divine is going to hold you in this chaos and conflict energy until you allow yourself to do this, because this is, at some point, this is what you've agreed upon. So at some level, consciously, you and your person both chose these realities where you're together in a physical union. And so now you're going to feel chaos and conflict until you allow yourself to make that jump and allow yourself to go towards it, and then, really lock in like a physical union is really what I'm getting. So, again, it's one of those things like that might not be what you want to hear right now. There's no going back, and the only way out is through and everything else. However, there is some point of conscience agreement that you made where this is what you've picked. So now you're being guided this way because at some point, at some level, you've consciously chose this. And so has your person. This is divine feminine energy. And so your person has chosen this as well. Happy family. That's reunion union energy. So yeah, this is what your person has consciously chosen as well. So you are going to be pulled to your person until you allow yourself to do it, because you both have already chosen it at some level of consciousness. This isn't just like your higher self saying, yeah, this is the energy where your higher selves have been like working on both of you to be like, hey, remember this person? Hey, there's still unfinished business here. There's a potential to mend the situation. You are each other's perfect match. You both learned a lot, experienced a lot, had some awakenings, have gone through some levels of, understanding and awareness expansion. And now, you both have, you're mirroring this. You both are choosing a physical union reality. And so you're going to continue to be called towards your person until you allow yourself to actually take that step, because that is what you've chosen at a conscience level. I feel like there's been even, and this is kind of funny, but even if it was one of those, like you're just daydreaming about it and then said something like, man, if that was really possible, that's what I would choose. And then your higher self's like, bet, let's do this shit. And then, phooey, buckle up, buttercup. I'm sure it's been a fun ride up until now. Um, okay. Yeah, there's that daydreamy energy, and this is letting you know that the daydreamy energy that you've been experiencing when it comes to the thoughts of your dream reality are actually attempting to manifest in your physical realm. You're just not allowing yourself to follow the guidance right now. But you are being guided to lock this in, to anchor this into the physical realm. The divine literally like works in the realm of miracles. So allow yourself to believe that miracles are possible for you and are likely for you. You're on the counterpart journey. It's a very rare journey. Not a lot of souls sign up for it. It's really fucking hard. And so the fact that you're here at this point on the journey, yeah, your higher self's like, dude, you're on the brink of it. Fucking let yourself have it. Yeah, okay. Man holding a heart. So this is the masculine energy being in love. With the hostilities card, I feel like there's still a lot of internal pulling back and forth. A lot of this, am I enough? Do I have enough? Do I this? Do I that? It's a lot of like mentally beating yourself up. And I feel like you're really being called to allow yourself to reach out to your person, to communicate with them, because it's going to actually help to relieve some of these internal hostilities energies as well. Because when you hear it confirmed from your person, like imagine reaching out to them, and yeah, they are your soulmate. So imagine reaching out to this person, and then you start talking, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, what's up? What's up? Or, yes, you're my perfect person, and here's why. That's going to allow this shit to settle really quickly, because you're going to hear it from your person's mouth that they are desiring this with you. And I feel like this is a situation where if you're still like, well, but I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I've done this, or I, did that. I feel like this is a situation where your person would be like, you know, yeah, and like this is the shit that I did, or this is some of the experiences I've had. Like it's not a big deal. Where are you at now, and what are you seeing forward looking? That's what's most important. And the internal transformations and everything else, of course. um for some of you, you could be observing your person from afar. So maybe you have a way to see your person. It's funny, I feel like this is actually mutual. If that doesn't resonate for you, just, leave it for those that it does resonate with. Um, I feel like you're being called to stop just observing and to actually allow yourself to be a part of your person's life and allow them to be a part of your life. And there is this element of like accepting fully who you are and where you're at on the journey and allowing that to be enough and knowing that that is enough for your person. Because this is a very expansive energy. So, this is an energy where two people who are focused on their own growth come together and grow and expand and evolve together and have like shared visions and shared goals and shared ideas on what this life of your dreams looks like. And then you've got two people who are willing to do what's necessary to allow that version in. And then you both are working on a shared vision. And when you've got two conscious people focusing on one thing, it manifests really, really fast. Okay. Anything else? Tick tock. There it is. That's divine timing. So yeah, it's time for this. It's time. Okay, but you're not seeing that it's time because you're overthinking. So I feel like you're stuck in your head a little bit. Yeah, well, a lot of it. And there's this energy of not realizing divine timing is lined up now because you're overthinking the situation. You're overthinking all of the little things and the this and the that and it could be financial issues or whatever it is. And yeah, you're not seeing that divine timing is actually aligned with you right now. So whenever you're watching this, divine timing is aligned with the situation. And intuitively, you're getting these intuitive insights. We had two intuitive cards coming out. For some of you, your feminine is very, very intuitive as well. There is a sensual energy that you and your person share with each other. I feel like there's a lot of desires. With you and your other person, there's also this element of you two coming together and creatively aligning in some way. So that could be part of like soul purpose stuff like that, where you come together and you work on something creatively and then share it with the world in some way, because we did have that going global energy as well. But this is really two intuitive people coming together to follow the guidance and manifest the life of their dreams together. So this is a really powerful, powerful energy, and divine timing is now. And there was a reason that it didn't happen 2 years ago. There's a reason it didn't happen 4 months ago. It's because of the divine timing. And divine timing is lined up for you now. And intuitively, you're getting that insight. You're getting those nudges. You're getting the signs and synchronicities. I feel like your ego's just trying to talk you out of it still. And so maybe you're on the brink of it and then you pull yourself back. I just got a vision of a masculine like typing out a message and then throwing their phone across the room like, no, now's not the time. And so it's still that battle of, head versus heart battle. Your ego mind versus your higher self, your, logical mind versus what your heart is guiding you to do. And so just make sure you're really kind of clocking that and seeing that when it happens, because that is that element of self-sabotage that's coming in that is stopping you from connecting with this person, where I feel like this is the major step for you to fully lock in. Again, with this between the worlds card, this is that step of you fully choosing this version of reality. And so it's one of those like, this is what you want to do. This is what your higher self is calling you to do. This is where you're going to find full soul fulfillment, in that energy of like feeling like your soul is on fire in that really good way. And so you're being called to do that and to finally allow yourself to take this full leap and, fuck around and land yourself in your dream reality. That's all. Nothing major. all good, maybe coming together, building an empire, nothing major. We do have victory on the bottom of the deck. And so this is really saying that you do have a very good potential here for success. And I was guided to this happy family energy. So this is saying that you are going to be successful when it comes to this reunion energy. It's just allowing yourself to take that leap and to know that you are enough as you are now, and you are worthy of this now. I mean, this is your person. This is your perfect match. Soulmate, lovebirds energy. Um, yeah. I mean, we've got so many cards out here that's like happy, harmonious union, loyal. I feel like there's a sense of loyalty between you and this person that is just insane. Like it's you, yeah. I feel like there's a sense of loyalty that you may have with your person that defies logic. Um, this could be an energy where, like, if you knew this person in the past and then somebody were to say something bad about him, you would just be like, dude, not in front of me. Or, just walk out. Like, I'm not gonna listen to this shit. And I do feel like that's mutual, by the way. I feel like this is a situation where you and your person, it's unconditional love is what it is. And when you two come back together, because I feel like it's a matter of when at this point. I don't think it's a matter of if. When you two come back together, this is definitely going to be a situation where you're not going to have to worry about your person doing some shady shit behind your back, and vice versa. I don't think this is a situation where you would be tempted to do something shady behind your person's back. I feel like this is very much a very loyal energy. And you do have a deep knowing when it comes to that as well. So if you have experienced those types of situations in the past with other people, in betrayal and everything else, just know, and I feel like you do know, this is not that type of situation. It's really not. This is a person where you two come together and you're like, okay, let's work together on life, instead of, it's one of those, like, we're a team versus, you close that front door and it's a war zone. It's, you close that front door and you're like, all right, so, what's the next thing we're being guided to focus on and build and allow and all of that jazz. So it's a very different way of experiencing a relationship. And maybe you've never fully experienced that, and maybe your person's never fully experienced that. So it might take some time to really kind of, lean into it and fully trust it. But I do feel like there's this huge potential here where it's going to happen probably pretty quick, all things considered. I mean, because it's your person. This is your perfect match. And it's a really beautiful energy. It really, really is. So, alrighty. Well, with that, I'm gonna leave it on this. You will be victorious in this situation. You will be victorious in living the life of your dreams. It's a matter of time at this point, is what I just heard. So yeah, allow yourself to take this leap of faith and align with your highest version of self, because that is what is leading you into this life of your wildest dreams. So, alrighty. Well, with that, I'm definitely going to leave this here. I could sit in this energy for a long time and ramble about it, but I feel like we got the message across. So it's time for this. You will be successful. There we go. Alrighty dokie. Well, feel free to talk to me in the comments about this if you would like to. I would love to talk to you about it. You can also affirm happy union energy, or I'm aligning with my highest timeline, something like that, that can help affirm it. You can also just speak it out loud if you're not guided to say anything in the comments. So just speak it out loud. And that's a way that you can confirm it and affirm this energy as well. Alrighty, feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free. I will see you on the next message. Bye.